Yes, 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 yes. We are live. Sorry about that, guys. I want this to be landscape because I realized that the what's it called? Like the other format is usually for Instagram or for photos, right? So landscape is more professional. So this is Beatrice Oti. It's been a long time. I'm your immigration consultant. Anything Canada immigration, whether you're looking to study, whether you're looking to work. I hope you can hear me. Can you all hear me? I do apologize. The first broadcast was shut down. I had to because I needed this to be in landscape format and not your normal Instagram, short format and all that. This is marketing, and when you're marketing your products or your services, you have to make sure that you come out professionally. So today we're going to be talking about the Canada Immigration Work Permit. Okay, we're going to be talking about the Canada Immigration Work Permit. A lot of people have been asking questions about the work permit, on how they can obtain the work permit. Before you go anywhere, my name is Beatrice Oti. I'm Canada Immigration Expert. I'm also a singer. I'm also a lead generation expert. I also do a lot of cold calls. So any of your needs with respect to the internet, I'm more of like I call myself a digital marketer, right? So all the nitty gritty in the digital space, I usually love to put myself there. Now, for Canada immigration, and why I love Canada immigration is there's so many opportunities now than 10 years ago. 10 years ago, you could not work in Canada as a student unless you apply to get a work permit. But now you have that opportunity as long as you have a study permit. Now you also have the ability to work remotely in Canada. Even though you have just a visa, you can apply for your work permit while you enter Canada. And you can also apply for a program called the Digital Nomads. So everything will be demystified here on this webinar today. And I need you all to share this link with friends and family so that they can join the webinar. So real quick, you guys, just give me a second so I could share this on I could share this on my YouTube, on my Facebook, because I need people to come out here. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. This is going to be usually going to be for like an hour, so that I will allow time for people to ask questions and answers, or whatever they need to do, because I want to make sure people get this. Okay, people keep saying, "Oh, it's so hard for me to get a job in Canada." It's because you're not applying the right way. Okay, if you're applying the right way, you shouldn't be. Okay, this is me. I'm coming up on my desktop, so let me post this. Okay, so yay, we have one person. Welcome. This is Beatrice Otis. I'm just trying to put myself together here so that I can help you guys better in case there's any questions and answers. So like I said, my name is Beatrice. You can always watch the replay anyways. There's going to be a replay. You can always watch that. Okay, so real quick, guys, first of all, I'm going to be telling you guys about the work permit. But before you go anywhere, I want you to subscribe on this YouTube channel. I want you to follow me on all social media platforms. I'm on Instagram, the Beatrice Oti, Facebook, the Beatrice Oti, LinkedIn, the Beatrice Oti, although I use LinkedIn more for business. And I'm also here on YouTube. Now, I have a second YouTube channel, but that is dedicated to gospel music. So if you're a gospel person, you can follow that. Otherwise, that's also fine. I mean, I don't have any interruptions about that. So today we're gonna be talking about the Canada. Sorry about that, people. We're gonna be talking about the Canada work permit. So there are two. Before I get in detail with respect to the Canada work permit, there are two types of the Canada work permit. We have the open work permit and we have the closed work permit. Okay, we have the open work permit and we have the closed work permit. If you are a student in Canada, you already know that you definitely get an open work permit. Now, Canada is changing their rules. As from April, they will be shortening the time frame you can work. Right now, you have all the opportunity. So if you're unable to afford your tuition, you can work 20 hours during your full-time semester. So Canada has like 3 semesters. They have the fall, they have the summer, and they have the winter. The fall is usually from September to December, and that's when the leaves fall. So that's why it's called fall. The winter is usually from January to April, and then the spring kicks in, and then summer, which is June, July. Now, they don't offer a lot of courses during the summer because that's not the typical year, and everybody is actually on holiday. So the way the country is set up, they set up that, okay, we want to help our people, and our people should be available in January till April or from September to December. So when you go to school, so let's say your semester actually started in the summer, you see few people in classes, so you'll be wondering, is it that people don't come to classes or what's going on? No, it's not that people don't come to classes. It's just that the way the country is organized is people do work, and those people who are bringing their children to school, or you're not an adolescent to school, they have to work. Some of them work in the United States, some of them work like in distant regions. So some people work in Saskatchewan, and then during the fall they can come to Toronto. Most of the students, everybody comes to Toronto because I mean it's a very buzzy place. It's very exciting. I mean that's where the real excitement happens in Canada. So just you know, let me just get out of that thought. I just wanted to, because I had a friend who went to Canada in the summer, and they were like, "Bitches, people don't show up in class. It's just 2-3 people. This place, like, is it a dead place? Like, at this spirits?" And I'm like, no. And also, people also do remote. People go to school via e-learning, so they can learn everything online. Okay, but hey, be careful, because there are some study permits that will not be issued if you are doing long distance. They call it long distance learning. Okay, except it's approved. I have to make sure you read the Canada website, or the agents or consultancy you are using clarifies that okay, there is no issue, because there was an Indian student that was deported because they got a work permit, they got a study permit. However, this is the thing, they applied for a study permit, they got it after their school year. When they were going to get a work permit, it was rejected on the grounds that this Indian student was registered in a long distance learning. Okay, they want you to be in Canada, so you can't be in India or be in Nigeria or be in Togo and say you want to school in Canada. You have to be here physically, okay, if you want to get your study permit. Now they do allow some long distance course. I did take one long distance course, but it's not like 10 courses that are long distance. So just want to get back to our thoughts. We're talking about work permit. If you're a student, you definitely get an open work permit. So we have two work permits. We have the open work permit, we have the closed work permit. What is a work permit? Okay, a work permit is a legal document that is issued by Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship to anyone who is looking to work in Canada legally. So there are some work permit that will not be issued. So if you are doing like massage, erotic dance, sexual stuff, you're not going to get a work permit for that, because that's illegal. It's considered illegal. Even if you go to the Canada website, you're going to see that it's going to state that it's not allowed here, right? They want people who are foreign nationals that are coming to be great people and to help their economy. Canadians can do that, that's fine. But you as an immigrant, you're coming to represent your country, so you should be well behaved. And you should set yourself to have like high standard, because I mean you're coming against Canadians, right? So the job market is competitive. We have the open work permit, we have the closed work permit. There are different types of open work permits, right? So open work permit, if you're a student, you're done school, you get an open work permit. They also call it the postgraduate work permit. That's one type of the open work permit. You can only work for 3 years. After 3 years, and depending on your program, someone got a work permit of 1 year. Because why? They want to get into a program that is 2 years program. So if you're a master's student, listen people, if you're a master's student, please make sure your master's duration is 2 years or more. If you're going to do 1 year, you're not going to get the full 3 years work permit. If you're an undergrad, make sure it's 4 years. Otherwise, you won't get the full 3 years. And you need that 3 years, because before you would enter the express entry, before you get invitation to apply, before you actually apply, time is gone. And if you're lucky, they can give you a bridging open work permit. Otherwise, they'll send you back to your home country. Okay, so please make sure you understand these processes. Okay, so one type of the open work permit is the postgraduate work permit. Another type of the open work permit is for international experience class. So people who are like coming from different nations, I just want to explore Canada and working environment to see how it is. A lot of people from the UK, United Kingdom, they usually come to Canada. I see them a lot when I work in the lab. I'm like, why do so many people from the United Kingdom? And they were like, yeah, they're just trying to get some hands-on experience and then take that international experience back to their country. And you know, Canada, United States, and United Kingdom, they're like brothers and sisters. Like, yeah, so they allow them to work. Now, there's another type of open work permit. It's called employer-specific open work permit. Why it's called employer-specific? You have to work for certain employer, but it is open, so they do allow you to change employer, but under certain employer specifications. So let's say you're gonna be working as an engineer in Canada. It's an open work permit. You're allowed to work with all the employer, but it has to be specific to engineering. Okay. Now there are some So let's say your spouse is on a study permit with you, and you want to come to Canada. Are we live? Are we live? Sorry for the break in transmission. Let me just check to make sure that. Why is the dog barking so hard? Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Let's see. Can you all hear me? Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Let's see. Can you all hear me? Okay. So we're back. I do apologize for the breaking transmission. I wonder why the internet is acting funky today. Anyways, so welcome. So we were actually live before, and then there was a little transmission. So I was talking about the open work permit. You can always watch the replay, so it should come up. So open work permit, there's the spousal open work permit. So let's say, for instance, I got married back home, and then or I got married in India, or got married in any country, then I came back to Canada, and I need to bring my spouse. Whether I'm studying, whether I'm working, if my spouse has to come join me in Canada, they have to be on an open work permit if they're going to work. Okay, they have to be on an open work permit, so which means they are open to work for any employer in the interim, except your spouse already has an employer that will sponsor them, and we'll get to that. That's called the closed work permit, which is called labor market impact assessment. That is very technical. Now Canada does has a program that is called a recognized employer program, REP. However, employers that are in Canada still want residents residing inside of Canada. And the reason why they want residents residing inside of Canada is because the time it would take for an employer to get someone from outside the country, it's going to take 2-3 months. I mean, the business has to run. Nobody wants a situation whereby, they are waiting for someone. The business time is going, and the business has to make money. So they're not going to wait for, so except you are very good. If you are very good, let's say you are into tech, let's say you are into what's it called, marketing, and they found out that, okay, you generate $90,000 or $100,000, that's the only reason they'll wait for you. Otherwise, a Canadian employer would rather take somebody who is residing inside of Canada over you, because they can't wait. So that's the reason why I tell people, okay, the best way to get this work permit thing, if you have a family member residing in Canada, have them apply on your behalf. Someone who loves you, who you trust, right? Have them apply for you in Canada. It makes the work easier. Now, it's not impossible. You can apply from your home country. If you're in Nigeria, you can apply from Nigeria, you can apply from India, you can apply from Pakistan. However, it's easier if someone is residing inside of Canada and applies on your behalf, because it shows a little bit of reputation. They know that, okay, this person will show up. What if it doesn't work out? What if IRCC doesn't give you the work permit? Then the employer loses after going through the whole process. So guys, you get what I mean. Now, still on the open work permit, we also have refugee. Now, some refugee claimants can get an open work permit. There are also, under the open work permit, there can be some open work permits that are restricted, and there can be some open work permits that are not restricted. When they say restricted, it means although it's an open work permit and it's LMI exempted because of medical conditions you have, or because of occupation, kind of occupation, you have to work for only certain employer. Now it's an open work permit, but you are restricted to work for only certain employer. So let's say you are a nurse, for instance, they would want you to work, so that they say, okay, they want you to just work for Saskatchewan, or they want you to only work in Nova Scotia as an open work permit, but you have to work that location. Okay. Now for employer, because you're in nursing, that's health, that's occupation, that's restricted, and they have the unrestricted, like the postgraduate work permit, you can work for anybody. Okay. Now let's come to the closed work permit. Okay, let's come to the closed work permit. And for the closed work permit, it's usually LMIA. This is the best. See, if there is anybody who wants to come to Canada, I would recommend that if you can, get someone who resides inside of Canada to apply for a job for you, and then it makes the process smooth. If they can, let me just give you guys some hints. Some churches do it anyways, but you have to be trusted. I mean, you have to be, they have to trust you that you're not going to run away, and you know what I mean. So for the closed work permits, the task is usually on the employer. Okay, so the employer has to submit your information to the government. Fine, you have to apply for the job though. You are good, you've told the employer that you're skillful, you can do the job, blah blah blah, you have the skill sets, you bring revenue and all that. So the employer will package your application, send it to the Canadian government. They also pay some amount of money as well, but that can always be removed from your salary once you eventually land in Canada. It's not impossible, guys. It's possible. It can take 1, 2, 3 years. I know someone who has been trying since 2019. Oh, since 2021. She got to Canada this year. 2020. She started in 2021, 2022, 2023. She got to Canada. So it took her 2 years, but she has been trying for a while. Okay, so it's not impossible. You can. So where was I? So yeah, so the employer would submit your application on behalf of you to the Canadian government. Usually takes, sometimes it takes 2 weeks, sometimes it takes a month. But they have to convince the Canadian government that there is no Canadian citizen, there is no permanent resident that can do the job. Only you can do it and do it well. It's very hard to convince that. Now, the only jobs that a lot of Canadians really want to do because they are Canadian, I mean, they have their ego and their prestige as a Canadian citizen, is like those low menial jobs, like those farm jobs. Nobody wants to bend down and be picking tomatoes or moving cucumbers. I did that as well. I won't lie. Everybody started there before they started building up the ladder, right? So most Canadian citizens wouldn't want to do that. Most permanent residents wouldn't want to do that. So Canada does have like the labor board where they work with and recruit people from Mexico. But sometimes these people in Mexico don't want to do the job because, I mean, their siblings are like, hey, this job is very tiring and they can't do it anymore. Some of them are even sick. Please don't come here. So what do? They start putting out that, okay, they're going to sponsor people. There are so many websites. You can check monster.ca, you can check Joblico, you can check Indeed. You just change the location to Canada, Glassdoor. There's so many of them. If you want to know more about this, let me quickly share the link. I'm going to share the link in the comment section. I want you guys to go get this book. It's called the Canada Work Permit book. It's definitely going to help you with if you're having any issues. A lot of people have been complaining that they've been having issues each time they try to access this book. So I'm going to just put it up in the chat box here. I'm going to put it in the chat box and I'm going to pin it. So please take advantage. Okay, it's already here. I love the internet. I swear, I really love the internet. So go get this book. Let me see if I can pin this. So gonna let me pin it. Okay. So go get this book, and I believe the book is gonna change your life. It's gonna show you different employers. Okay, it's gonna show you different employers where you can find those employers. You can even give them a call. You can give them a call that, hey, you are skillful, you are looking to get a job, you have so years of experience. You can submit your resume and cover letter, and see there's over like 20,000 employers. And trust me, you have to be proactive. Follow them on all social media platform. You'll get something. And another thing I usually recommend, if you're looking for sponsors, please be on a platform where the employer can see you. Be active, be proactive, be active online. An employer can see and be like, I want to work with you. Some of the jobs I've gotten, trust me, people, I did not apply for them. I did not apply for them. I was just posting content up on my Facebook, my social media platform, LinkedIn, and the rest of them. An employer found me and I started working with them. And then they asked for my portfolio. They want to see my review, and we'll take it up from there. So you have to be proactive, okay? So the reason I love the closed work permit is the fact that an employer can sponsor you to Canada. They can sponsor your trip. They can sponsor your accommodation. Some employers would subtract that from your salary. Some Indians and Chinese employers do that. Some may not. They will probably have like an agreement. But there are certain requirements, there are certain eligibility that needs to be met before you can get that closed work permit, which is usually called labor market impact assessment. That the employer has done their part and you do get the job offer. It's not a guarantee you will get an approved work permit, because Canada Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship would also need to verify if you are eligible. So for instance, let's say an employer is going to sponsor me. I'm happy. I have the work permit. I have the job offer. Hey, I got my job offer. I even want to share my testimony in church. God forbid. If I submit my application to Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship, if I do not meet certain requirements, it can be rejected. God forbid. So you have to make sure that there are certain requirements that you meet, even though you have your job offer. Job offer is the hardest part. To get an employer to sponsor in Canada is not easy. Trust me. There are people who get it. I know a lot of people who got the job offer in Canada, but it's not an easy process. Some people, they cry, they sweat, they apply 20 times before they get it. You know, I usually recommend, if you want to come to Canada, come with your family, use permanent residency. Permanent residency is easier. People say, oh, work permit is faster. Permanent residency is easier, and I recommend permanent residency. Number one, you're already a permanent resident of Canada. Because if you're coming to work in Canada, you're coming temporarily. Nobody's going to make, except you apply for your permanent residency. If you apply for your permanent residency and you're coming to Canada and you get a closed work permit, no problem, perfect. But if you're coming to Canada temporarily, you're not as important as someone who is a permanent resident. Someone who is a permanent resident is already seen as a Canadian. So that's what I tell people. Please and please, if you want to come to Canada, come as a permanent resident or come as a student. These two, even a student, you are still considered a temporary resident. But if you come as a permanent resident to Canada, it makes your life so easy. The moment you land in Canada as a permanent resident, they have so many services that can help you. They have immigration services for women that would help you. They have immigration services for employment. You can even get employed the same day. You know, there's so many services to help you. You can call. You know, if you're even having difficulties with accommodation, which is not what I am soliciting for, but the government of Canada already has a home for you. Like they have, like they call it a homeless shelter. In the interim, I know some people who they came from Africa, they came to Canada. Unfortunately, they could not afford the rent, so they started living in homeless shelter. They started doing some menial job until they were able to get their feet. Then they moved to a better place. So these things happen. A lot of people don't even prepare. They just think, oh, Canada is heaven, and they just jump into Canada and they are surprised. Like, oh, nobody told me about this. Are you prepared? So some of the eligibility, you have to demonstrate your intent that you're coming to work. Some people, they want to work in Canada, but at the same time, they want to study. So focus on one thing. If you're coming to study, if you're the good thing about study, if you're coming to study, you can also work, and you don't actually need a permit to work. Okay, so that's the reason I tell people studying is better. And PR, if you're coming as a permanent resident, you're already a permanent resident, so you can work. But if you're coming to work only temporarily, you have to do only that thing. You have to work only. So make sure your intent is to work in Canada. If the Canadian immigration officer finds out, maybe you wrote a letter there and say, oh, and I'm also looking to study, automatic denial. You have to show proof of fund. If you are going to go back to your country, say you are going to work temporarily, some transferees in Mexico and other countries, and Jamaicans especially, they usually come work temporarily, they want to gather funds for their family, and they go back. Make sure you fulfill it. If you're going to go back, fulfill it that you go back. You need to be medically fit, mentally. If you have any issues mentally, please take care of it. In short, the highest fund that is spent in Canada now is for mental health. So Canada does not want to use their ears to hear that somebody is mentally ill. They don't want to even hear it. If you know you're mentally, stay in your country, fix yourself first before you move into their country, because they're already treating Canadians that have mental illness. And mental illness is on the rise in Canada right now. So you want to make sure you are not sick, be it medically, be it physically. Take care of all that before you move. Number two, make sure you are working for an eligible employer. Now, this is the thing. I had a friend who got in trouble. Please I'm going to share the link. Okay, I shared the link. Please get the workbook, the Expert Now workbook. That book is going to help you tremendously. There are certain employers. This book, all the employers in this book, they are all eligible. Okay, you don't have to worry about it. We came together. I worked with a team of people. We came together and ensured that the employers that we have there are eligible. There are certain employers that are not eligible, and if you apply to work with them, it's an automatic denial. People get denied, and they don't know why they got denied. Now, on the denial letter, the Canada immigration officer is going to state, can reapply but denied on the grounds of this. Please make sure you read that. And when you read that, that's why when you work with us, we are licensed. When you work with us, we'll tell you that, okay, these are what they are stating. You have to reapply. When you reapply, you have to make sure you correct the mistake. So if the Canada immigration officer is telling you that you did not prove ties, how do you prove ties? You have to demonstrate that. Prove ties that, okay, you're going to return back to your home country. Show them properties that you have. I mean, you're not going to leave properties of over 60 million because of Canada, or properties of over 100 million because of Canada. Or if you have a running business, convince them that you're going to return back. That's ties. Now, if Canada is saying that you are ineligible because your employer is ineligible, then apply for an employer that is eligible. Be with an employer that is eligible when you reapply. Do you guys know? I just found out. Do you guys know now that if you get rejected, you can actually apply for a reappeal? You can apply for a reappeal whether you're inside of Canada or outside of Canada. People, when I found this thing, I was like, oh my God. Because there was a client of mine that got rejected and they just like, Canada is not working for them. And they were like, okay, you know what, let me go and do US, let me go and do UK. And they were wasting time. You can do a reappeal. If you're outside of Canada, it takes about 60 days. And do you know what they would do? Your application, your information will be given to a different immigration officer, because some of them have bias. You don't know what's going on people's heads. Some people's heads, they're like, I don't like your face. I don't want you to come to Canada. I don't like your face. Don't come. Stay in your home country. That's their own bias. Some, they don't like blacks. Some, they don't like married people. Everybody with their bias. They'll give it to another immigration officer. It takes time, but if your dream is to come to Canada, you will get there. Okay? And then the last thing you need to fulfill, you need to provide all the requested documents. Okay? If Canada is asking you to provide your marriage certificate, please provide it. If they're asking you to provide your car, please provide it. Don't be knucklehead and say, no, why would Canada ask me such questions? Whatever they ask you, please fulfill it. Okay? So, like I said, there are different types of open work permit. There's the international experience class, bridging open work permit, spousal company international student or worker, spousal sponsorship from inside of Canada, postgraduate work permit. So I didn't talk about the spousal sponsorship. So for instance, I'm a permanent resident or a Canadian and I want my spouse to come, I have to sponsor him to come. He would be on my husband would be on an open work permit. Or if it's my mom or my sibling, they will be on an open work permit. Okay. For the closed work permits that requires LMIA, you can come in via the temporary worker program, Quebec Global Talent Stream. There's also international mobility program. There's NAFTA work permit. There's SETA work permit. There's intra-company transfer. What I love about the intra-company transfer is you can work in a share in Nigeria and share my request for your service in Canada. My goodness, if that happens to you, guys, you need to celebrate that in church. You need to share a testimony because it is not easy. Although I had a friend though who was transferred. She was a gynae, but she's not working in Canada as a gynae. She's working as something else. But her company were relocating to Canada, I believe, or they had a branch and they were like, you know what, we need her to be in Canada. That's how this lady came to Canada with her family. So it's not impossible. It is possible to move to Canada, but you need to be prepared. So that would be it for the work permit session. Hope I did justice to it. If you need more clarification, you can send me a message on my Facebook. I'm more active on Facebook than any platform, or you could email me at ishakabeatrice@gmail.com. So I'm just going to put out my email. If you also need an agent to assist you, say you're not very techy, you're not an internet person, and you need someone to help you, yeah, you can send me an email. You can shoot me a message on Facebook, and I'll respond. I will definitely respond to you. And if you want to do it all by yourself, so you're an internet guru, you want to learn everything by yourself, excuse me, you could also do that as well. We have a book. It's called the Canada JAPA Work Permit book. It's going to help you, people. It's going to help you. So I want you to go. If you're having any difficulties logging in, talk to me. I partner with a lot of people and they'll definitely get that result for you. So that'll be all. This is Beatrice again, immigration consultant. We don't have any questions today. I do apologize for the break in transmission here and there, but I wanted this to happen because I kept on stating that the webinar would happen, and it's here. Now, this is a random question from a friend of mine. It's not related to work, but she's like, if she comes to Canada, do we have services that can help with airport pickup? Yes, Canada International Work and Study Resource Center does have that. You have to make an arrangement, make your necessary fee payment. They do have airport pickup. Please listen to my previous webinar where I talked about study permit and pre-departure essentials, what you need to know when you get into Canada. Setting, I usually recommend just put everything in Google Map. Otherwise, get the map, buy it, and then learn how to read it as well. I always recommend don't go alone, go with a family member. It makes life easier for you. Okay, that would be it. So send me your DMs if you're looking to travel, be it study, work, permanent residency, you want to visit Canada as well. I am available for you. Okay, I also work with a lawyer as well, so I know some Canadian lawyers. So send me your DMs, and I'll be more than happy to work with you and make your Canadian dream a reality. Okay, until next time, Beatrice Otie. Bye now. Bye. So you can watch the replay. Please subscribe on my YouTube channel. Okay, you can watch the replay on my YouTube. There was a break in transmission, so please subscribe. Okay, that will be all. Bye.